Mom, when are we kicking Grandpa out?
It was 11 p.m. that night. I couldn't sleep, so I was in my study, reading when I heard my grandson's voice from the living room. My 18-year-old grandson was asking my daughter-in-law.
Keep your voice down. We'll deal with it right after we get back from our Europe trip.
My daughter-in-law answered matter-of-factly.
Mom, you're still getting me that gift you promised, right? I mean, we're getting a $5 million house. Mom, but what if Grandpa refuses?
My grandson asked again.
Refuses? He won't have a choice. Once he gets that dementia diagnosis, the children make the decisions. It's legal.
My daughter-in-law's voice was ice cold. At that moment, my hands trembled uncontrollably. In my 75 years of life, these were the most unforgettable words I'd ever heard. If the kids insist it's dementia, the doctors believe it too, after everything I've done for them. Right then and there, I made my decision. I would get my revenge. Wondering how it came to this. Let me tell you everything from the beginning. Hello, my name is William Harrison. I'm 75 years old this year. I've lived in Palo Alto, California for 40 years. My wife, Margaret, passed away 10 years ago from kidney failure. I was a high school principal for 40 years at a local public school and worked as an education consultant for the school district after retirement. My pension is $8,000 a month, enough to live comfortably. I also have $800,000 in savings from a lifetime of work. My son, Thomas, works as an attorney at a prestigious law firm in San Francisco. He makes excellent money. My daughter-in-law, Jennifer, is a former registered nurse. She's now a stay-at-home mom. They've been married for 23 years and have one son, my grandson, Brandon, who's a senior in high school this year. After Margaret passed, I lived alone for 3 years. But Thomas kept insisting I move in with them. Dad, it's dangerous for you to live alone at your age. Come live with us. At first, I thought he was a devoted son. Jennifer seemed warm too. Father, let us take care of you. You must be lonely living alone. So 3 years ago, I moved in with them. Our house is a 2,000 square foot home in one of Palo Alto's nice neighborhoods. Margaret and I bought it with a mortgage in 1998 for $300,000, but now it's worth $5 million. It's a house we cherished for 40 years. The first few months were wonderful. Thomas gave me spending money. Jennifer cooked family dinners. I thought, family living together really is the best. Brandon also said he was happy to have Grandpa around. But after about a year, the atmosphere started to change. Thomas and Jennifer would smile to my face but whisper behind my back. The strange thing was, when Jennifer's friends came over for book club, I could hear them talking in the living room. Jennifer, I'm so jealous of you. Living in Palo Alto in a house like this. When will I ever live somewhere like this? Well, it's still in my father-in-law's name, but eventually it'll be ours. She said it as if I were already dead. I felt hurt, but given my age and the fact that I would eventually pass it on, I didn't make a big deal of it. The shocking discovery, the decisive moment came 6 months ago on an evening I'll never forget. I was in my study, reading when Jennifer and Brandon started talking quietly in the living room. The conversation I heard was exactly what I described at the beginning, but it got worse. Do you know what my friends say? Jennifer complained. Everyone's mother-in-law gets Hermes bags and trips to Europe. What have we gotten? Nothing. Right. My friends' grandfathers buy them cars and give them huge allowances, Brandon added. That's why I'm saying we need to handle this now, Jennifer said firmly. Mom, you're really going to buy me that Ferrari, right? Brandon confirmed. Connor's mom got him a BMW M5 and he won't shut up about it. I can't stand it. Of course. With a $5 million house, a Ferrari is pocket change. My throat tightened. Margaret and I raised our son in this house, and now my daughter-in-law and grandson were saying these things. Mom, how much longer does Grandpa have to live here? Brandon asked impatiently. I don't know. He's healthy, so maybe another 10 years or more. 10 years? I have to live with Grandpa that long? What about my Ferrari? Jennifer's voice sharpened. That's why I told you before we get Grandpa diagnosed with dementia and send him to a memory care facility. That's the only way we can finally live our lives. Don't worry about your dad. He's clueless. Whatever I say, he agrees to. She even disrespected her own husband. Then I hope Grandpa goes to the nursing home soon, Brandon said coldly. My blood pressure skyrocketed. My head was spinning, my hands trembling. My daughter-in-law and grandson, who had lived in my house and benefited from me, their whole lives were planning to warehouse me in a facility. I couldn't listen anymore. I quietly closed my study door and sat in my chair, my heart ready to burst. The memories flood back. When Jennifer married Thomas, I gave her my late mother's jewelry collection worth over $50,000. When she said her family couldn't afford much for the wedding, we understood and paid for most of it ourselves, over $80,000. After she gave birth to Brandon, I gave her $25,000 as a gift and bought her a Mercedes. And my grandson. From birth until now, whatever he wanted, private school tuition, hockey equipment, summer camps in Europe, I paid for everything. Every vacation, I sent Jennifer and Brandon on trips. Last year alone, I gave them $30,000 for a trip to Italy. And this family was planning to deceive me and throw me out? I didn't sleep at all that night. I kept thinking, did I really hear that correctly? Does Thomas think the same way? But I had heard it clearly. Brandon's voice, Jennifer's voice, they were too vivid. I tossed and turned until 4 a.m. before finally falling asleep. But even in my dreams, I kept hearing Brandon say, "When are we kicking Grandpa out?" I woke up drenched in cold sweat. It was a terrible nightmare. The gaslighting begins. The next morning, I got up as usual. With 40 years of experience as a school principal dealing with difficult situations, I tried my best not to show anything. Thomas and Jennifer came down and ate breakfast as if nothing had happened. Brandon was also there getting ready for school. Then Jennifer suddenly said something strange. My heart sank. They were already starting to execute their plan. "Father, you seem to be forgetting things lately. Are you okay?" Thomas immediately agreed. "That's right, Dad. Yesterday you asked the same question 3 times. I barely spoke yesterday, yet they were making up these outrageous lies." "What are you talking about? I'm perfectly fine," I said firmly. When I got angry, Jennifer gave Brandon a meaningful look, as if everything was going according to plan. "Your personality seems different too. More irritable," she added. At that moment, everything became crystal clear. They were really trying to make me out to be a dementia patient, and everything I'd overheard was becoming reality. A few days later, their scheme became even more elaborate. Jennifer deliberately spoke loudly to our neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, in the elevator. "I'm so worried about my father-in-law. He keeps forgetting things. Yesterday, he forgot to turn off the stove." This was a complete lie. I had never once forgotten to turn off the stove. When Mrs. Peterson looked concerned, Jennifer sighed and replied, spreading the rumor throughout the neighborhood. This way, when they took me to a doctor, they could say the whole neighborhood had noticed. But I still didn't realize how meticulously they'd planned everything. The truly shocking truth would come a few days later. The evidence. I discovered it a week later on a Friday afternoon. Thomas had gone to his law firm, and Jennifer said she was going shopping with her mother. Brandon was at school. Being alone made me feel even more anxious. Around 2 p.m., Jennifer called, her voice brighter than usual. "Father, I'll be late tonight. Mom and I are shopping at Stanford Shopping Center." "All right. Be careful," I said as usual. "Thanks. Have dinner and get some rest early." But around 8 p.m., Jennifer came home with her mother, Patricia. I greeted them politely. "Hello, Patricia. How have you been?" "Fine, thank you." Patricia looked at me strangely, somewhat awkwardly. After greeting them, I retreated to my room, thinking they'd want privacy. But I desperately needed the bathroom. I tried to hold it, but finally had to come out. Fortunately, I didn't see Jennifer or Patricia. I used the bathroom, but on my way back, I heard Patricia's loud voice coming from Jennifer's bedroom. Without thinking, I pressed my ear against the door and started listening. This time, the conversation was truly shocking. "Mom, are you sure this will work?" Jennifer sounded worried. "What's there to worry about? At 75, having dementia wouldn't be unusual at all. When children say their parent has dementia, doctors believe them," Patricia said firmly. "But sending a perfectly healthy person to a nursing home? Jennifer hesitated. Patricia cut her off coldly. Healthy? What's healthy about him? And with modern medicine, people live to 100 these days. Are you going to take care of him until then? When will you live your own life? You'll waste all your good years. I was stunned. Even Patricia was involved in the plan to send me to a nursing home. But Mom, what if we get caught? Jennifer worried. Caught doing what? You're not doing anything. Wrong, you're concerned about your father-in-law's health. You'll just say dementia patients need professional care. Who's going to criticize you for that? Patricia said confidently. I don't know anymore. This is your idea, Mom, Jennifer complained. Watch your words. When did I push you? I barely mentioned it and you jumped on it immediately. You're just feeling a little guilty, Patricia corrected her. She continued, Guilt? With that money you could live so comfortably. You could send Brandon to study abroad. At that moment, everything became clear. It wasn't just Jennifer who coveted my house. Yeah, you're right. That would be smart. The nursing home would give him professional care. It's actually better for father, Jennifer rationalized. But what if the doctor says he's normal? Jennifer worried. Patricia answered with certainty. That won't happen. Doctors these days rely most heavily on family testimony. If you're consistent in what you say, they won't suspect a thing. How can you be so sure? Jennifer asked doubtfully. Patricia even cited real examples. My friend's daughter did the same thing with her father-in-law last year. Same method. Nobody suspected anything. I was truly shocked. This wasn't the first time. Other people had already used the same method successfully. Really? Then we can do it too, Jennifer said hopefully. Patricia gave more specific instructions. Of course. But you need to prepare in advance. You need to look into nursing homes. Nursing homes? Already? Jennifer was surprised. Of course. Plans need to be thorough. You should be ready to send him to a facility. Immediately after the diagnosis, Patricia explained. They were meticulous. They had planned every step from the hospital diagnosis to facility admission. But Mom, how much do nursing homes cost? Jennifer asked practically. Patricia had already done the research. I looked into it. Between $5,000 and $6,000 a month. His pension is $8,000 a month, right? That's almost enough. There's quite a bit left over. So we wouldn't have any financial burden, Jennifer said with relief. Perfect. Patricia sounded satisfied. But Mom, what if Father refuses? Jennifer had one last worry. Patricia answered firmly. He won't have the right to refuse. Once someone is diagnosed with dementia, the family makes the decisions. It's completely legal. Really? Jennifer confirmed. Patricia even knew the legal aspects. Yes. Dementia patients are considered to lack decision-making capacity. That's why family members make decisions on their behalf. Just file for guardianship and it's done. I couldn't listen anymore. My legs trembling, I barely made it back to my room. I buried myself under the covers, crushed by the shock and horror of betrayal. Even Patricia was conspiring with Jennifer to send me to a nursing home. I felt like my world was collapsing. The conspiracy deepens. That dawn, I woke up thirsty. As I was about to open my door to get water, I heard Jennifer and Thomas whispering. I cracked the door slightly and held my breath, eavesdropping on their conversation. I talked to my mom today, Jennifer said. She told me to start looking at nursing homes in advance. Your mother said that? Thomas showed interest. Jennifer continued explaining. Well, Dad is getting up there in age and his memory is getting fuzzy. It's probably a good idea. Where are you looking? Thomas asked. I haven't looked myself yet, Jennifer explained, repeating what she'd heard from Patricia. Mom looked into it for me. She said it's between $5,000 and $6,000 a month. Perfect, Thomas said, knowing exactly what my pension was. Dad's pension is $8,000, so we wouldn't have to contribute anything. That's a relief, Jennifer agreed. Then Thomas asked curiously, should we get the house transferred before he goes into the facility? Jennifer said something even more shocking. Yes, of course. The house, Dad's savings, and any other assets, we need to get everything transferred to us. Thomas agreed. Makes sense. Once he's in the facility, it'll be hard to get him out. By the way, how much does Dad have in savings? Does he have any real estate or land? I know he has about $800,000 in savings, but I don't know about other assets. Let's ask him tomorrow, Jennifer said, probing. They weren't just after the house, they were planning to take everything I had. The next day, I witnessed something even more shocking. While Jennifer was showering, she left her phone on the living room table. I happened to see it. Kakao Talk messages kept coming in, lighting up the screen. The preview messages from Patricia were truly shocking. Found 3 nursing homes. I'll send you a price comparison chart. When you go to the doctor on Tuesday, you need to bring these documents. You must be consistent about his symptoms. Don't contradict yourself. Patricia wasn't just advising, she was actively involved, looking up facilities and preparing documents. When I heard Jennifer coming out of the bathroom, I rushed to my room. She came into the living room and immediately checked her phone, then called Patricia. "Mom, I saw your message. Thank you so much." I could hear Patricia's voice. Of course, these things need to be done thoroughly to avoid mistakes. The nursing home information is so detailed, Jennifer said gratefully. Compare the prices, facilities, and programs before deciding, Patricia advised. But are you sure this will work? Jennifer hesitated again. Well, yes. We're doing this for father's health. Professional facilities provide much better care. Jennifer rationalized herself. Right. Don't feel too guilty. Everyone does this nowadays. Times have changed. Okay. Mom, if this works out, I'll buy you that designer handbag and fur coat you wanted. In fact, Patricia had been lured in by Jennifer's promises and ended up participating in this scheme. My daughter's involvement. In this desperate situation, I thought of my late wife, Margaret. But what good would thinking about her do now? I decided to reach out to my daughter, Emily, who took after her mother. Emily is 5 years older than Thomas. After getting married, she moved to Seattle with her husband and had a daughter. Despite living far away, she kept in regular contact, never using busy as an excuse to miss birthdays or holidays. Especially during the 3 years I lived alone, she came down once a month to help with housework and spend time with me, so I was certain Emily would be on my side. That afternoon at 2 p.m., Emily called, her voice warm as usual. "Dad, hello. How are you?" "I'm fine. How are you and Grace?" "We're all good. Grace was asking about you. She wants to know when she can see Grandpa. She's already in middle school. Time flies so fast. Dad, I'm coming down this weekend. I miss seeing you. Please do. I'll make something delicious. I'll be there Saturday evening." After the call with Emily, my anxious heart felt a bit calmer. I can only count on my daughter after all. I felt reassured that she would be on my side in this difficult situation. But 30 minutes later, I heard Thomas calling Emily. His voice was more serious than usual. "Emily, you said you're coming this weekend, right?" "Yes. Why? Is something wrong?" "I need to talk to you about Dad," Thomas said carefully. "What about him?" Emily sounded curious. Thomas started lying. "Dad's been acting strange lately. He forgets things and repeats himself constantly." My heart sank. Thomas was trying to deceive Emily too. "Is it really that serious?" Emily asked, sounding alarmed. "Yes. It looks like early-stage dementia. We're trying to get him to the doctor, but Dad refuses to go," Thomas explained. "Then you definitely need to get him to the hospital. Early diagnosis is crucial with dementia," Emily said with concern. "He keeps refusing," Thomas said in a pleading tone. "I think if you came and convinced him, he'd listen to you." "Of course," Emily agreed enthusiastically. "Dad's health comes first. I'll come and make sure to convince him." I was devastated. Emily had been completely fooled too. She believed Thomas's lies without any suspicion. That night I felt utterly hopeless. I had no allies. Thomas, Jennifer, Brandon, Emily, and even Patricia, everyone was conspiring to send me to a nursing home. But at the same time, anger rose within me. I couldn't just let this happen. I'd lived for over 70 years. I couldn't go down like this. And from that night on, I decided I wouldn't just sit still. Now that I'd confirmed they were trying to push me into a corner, I wasn't going to take it lying down. But I still didn't know how much more meticulous and malicious their plan was. The truly chilling truth would unfold a few days later. The documentation. I discovered the truth on Thursday afternoon. Thomas had gone to his law firm. Jennifer said she was meeting friends. Brandon was at school. Being alone made me feel even more anxious. Around 2 p.m., as I was heading to the bathroom, I passed by Jennifer's room. The door was slightly open. Papers spread out on the bed caught my eye. Curious, I looked closer. The content was truly shocking. It was a notebook titled "Father-in-Law's Dementia Symptoms Observation Log." Date by date, false symptoms were recorded in detail. July 10th repeated the same question 4 times. Witnessed by husband. July 11th, asked neighbor where his house was, needed help finding it. July 12th, didn't know what date it was. Everything was a complete lie, yet written as if it were fact. Even more surprising were the other documents next to it. There were several nursing home brochures with notes in red pen. Sunrise Senior Living, 5,200 month. Close distance. Oakmont of Palo Alto, 5,800 month. Average facilities. Atria Senior Living, 6,000 month. The good facilities. And at the bottom in Patricia's handwriting, let's go with the cheapest one. He won't be there long anyway. My heart collapsed. Won't be there long? They were hoping I'd die soon. Digging further, I found a guardianship application already filled out. The application in Thomas's name listed property status of Ward William Harrison, real estate Palo Alto home, market value $5 million, savings approximately $800,000, other teacher's pension $8,000 month EU. They had documented all my assets precisely, and on the last page was this plan. Phase 1, get dementia diagnosis, target. This week. Phase 2, file for guardianship, target next week. Phase 3, nursing home admission, target next month. Phase 4, transfer property title, target 3 months. They had meticulously planned every phase. My hands trembled. Then I heard the front door open. Jennifer was back. I quickly put the documents back and rushed to my room. "Father, I'm home," Jennifer greeted me, but I couldn't answer. What I'd just seen was too shocking. That evening when Thomas came home, I heard him quietly talking with Jennifer. "Honey, when's the doctor's appointment?" "Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Stanford Hospital Psychiatry Department." "What are you going to tell the doctor?" "I'll describe Dad's symptoms as they are. How he forgets things, repeats himself, and has become irritable. You have those symptom records, right?" "Yes, I have the observation log and neighbor testimonies prepared." "Neighbor testimonies?" Thomas was surprised. "Yes, Mrs. Peterson next door actually helped Dad find his way home recently," Jennifer explained. I was horrified. They'd even gotten the neighbors involved in fabricating false testimony. "After tomorrow's diagnosis, do we take him straight to the nursing home? Or do we handle the property paperwork first?" Thomas asked. "We need to do the paperwork first," Jennifer answered. "I hope Dad gets good professional treatment soon," Thomas said with fake concern. "Right. We can't provide proper care ourselves," Jennifer added with a hidden smile. Under my covers, I clenched my fists. They were celebrating over my assets. Emily's arrival. The next morning, my daughter Emily arrived from Seattle. Thomas had called her down. "Dad, hello." Emily greeted me warmly. "Emily, why did you come up suddenly?" "Thomas said you're going to the hospital, so I wanted to come along." Then Thomas and Jennifer took Emily aside, probably to lie to her. I pretended to go to the bathroom but listened from the hallway. "Emily, Dad's condition is really serious," Thomas said gravely. "Yesterday he asked the same question 5 times. "Really? Then it must be dementia," Emily said worriedly. "That's why we're getting a proper diagnosis at the hospital today," Thomas explained. "If he is diagnosed with dementia, what will you do?" Emily asked. "Professional care at a facility would be best," Jennifer answered. "You mean a nursing home?" Emily confirmed. "Yes, we both work and can't provide 24-hour care," Thomas defended. "That makes sense." "What about the costs?" Emily asked practically. "Dad's pension should cover it," Jennifer replied. "That's good. At least you won't have a financial burden, Thomas," Emily said with relief. I felt so frustrated. Even Emily had been completely deceived. That afternoon, I was forced to go to the hospital. Thomas, Jennifer, and Emily all came with me. At the reception, Jennifer told the nurse, "We're here for a dementia evaluation for my father-in-law." The nurse looked at me with a puzzled expression. "Sir, how old are you?" "I'm 75 years old," I answered precisely. "Do you know what year, month, and day it is today?" "November 23rd, 2023, Friday," I answered accurately. The nurse tilted her head. "Your cognitive ability seems perfectly normal," Jennifer quickly interrupted. "At home, it's really bad. He keeps repeating himself and forgets everything." The nurse looked confused but led us to the examination room. The doctor was a kind-looking man in his mid-50s. "Sir, what symptoms brought you here today?" "I don't think there's anything wrong with me, but my family insisted I come to the hospital," I answered honestly. "I see. What symptoms have the family members observed?" the doctor asked Thomas. Thomas pulled out a prepared paper. "Dad's been forgetting things lately. He repeats himself multiple times a day, loses track of dates, and his personality has become more irritable than before." Jennifer added, "That's right, doctor. Yesterday he asked the same question 5 times, and he often forgets to turn off the stove." The doctor asked me simple questions. Sir, do you know what year, month, and day it is? November 23rd, 2023, Friday. What's the capital of the United States? Washington, D.C. Can you count backwards from 100 by 7? 193, 86, 79, 72. I calculated accurately. The doctor tilted his head. Sir, your cognitive ability seems perfectly fine. Actually better than average for your age group. Jennifer quickly interjected. Doctor, he might seem fine here, but at home it's really severe. Thomas added, we brought an observation log. Thomas handed the doctor Jennifer's fabricated observation log. The doctor looked at it with a puzzled expression. This is strange. The symptoms the family describes are completely different from the patient's actual condition. At that moment, I gathered my courage. Doctor, could I possibly come back in a few days? I'd like to be observed more at home. Dad, what are you talking about? Thomas shouted loudly. How can father evaluate himself? We know his condition better, Jennifer said. But the doctor nodded. Let's have you come back in a week. We should monitor the progression more. As we left the examination room, I dropped a small note I'd brought from home on the floor, while Thomas and Jennifer walked ahead. On that note was written, my family is trying to fabricate dementia to steal my assets. Please help me. William Harrison. I desperately hoped the doctor would find that note. The trip. That day, I received a diagnosis of being normal from the hospital. But the atmosphere in the car on the way home was awkward. Jennifer said quietly, Father, why did you say that to the doctor? Say what? I pretended not to know. You said you wanted another examination in a few days, Thomas said. Oh, that. I just wanted to be sure, I said casually. Even after getting home, Jennifer remained suspicious. Father, did we do something wrong somehow? Jennifer asked probingly. What are you talking about? I answered as usual. Nothing, Jennifer mumbled. Emily also sensed something was off and asked carefully, Dad, how did you feel at the hospital today? It was nothing. I'm relieved the doctor said I'm fine. But Dad, have Thomas or Jennifer ever treated you strangely? Emily asked cautiously. Thomas and Jennifer visibly tensed at that question. Why would you ask that? I stared at Emily. Oh, I just wondered if anything was stressing you out, Emily answered vaguely. That night I made an important decision. I didn't know if the doctor had found my note, but my appointment in a week felt like my last chance. It was time to make my final move, but that opportunity came much sooner than I expected. 2 days later, on Sunday morning, Jennifer suddenly said excitedly, Honey, my mom wants to send us on a trip to Europe. Really? So sudden? Thomas was surprised. Yes, Mom's friend runs a travel agency and has one package left. France and Italy, 10 days. Wow, Europe. When do we leave? Brandon was excited. This Friday. But what about Father? Jennifer glanced at me. I'll be fine. I prefer being alone, I said deliberately indifferently. Are you sure? We'll be gone for 10 whole days. Thomas pretended to worry. Leaving a senile grandpa alone? Sure, you all go have fun, I thought sarcastically. Yes, you all enjoy yourselves, I said with a hint of sarcasm. Actually, I was thrilled inside. The opportunity had finally come. That evening, I saw Jennifer call Patricia, her voice excited. Mom, thank you so much. This trip will be a great break for us. After a moment of listening, Jennifer said, Yes. Father says he'll be fine alone. After another pause, okay, got it. We'll rest well for 10 days. After hanging up, Jennifer asked Thomas, Honey, will Father be okay? While we're gone. Don't worry. Dad's used to being alone, Thomas replied. My counterattack begins. Starting Monday, I secretly began my preparations. First, I called Kim Tae-woo, one of my former students from 23 years ago, who now works in real estate. Mr. Harrison, it's been a while since you called. Tae-woo, I need a favor. Tell me anything. I'll help however I can. I need to sell my house quickly. Can you do it? Your house? The one in Palo Alto? Tae-woo was surprised. Yes. How fast can you process it? Houses in your neighborhood sell as soon as they're listed. A week should be plenty. Can you list it this week? Of course. But why are you suddenly selling? It's complicated. I'll explain later, I deflected. On Tuesday, I went to the bank and liquidated all my savings. I withdrew the entire $800,000 and transferred it to a new account I'd opened. I also changed my pension direct deposit account. On Wednesday, I signed a contract for a small condo in Sacramento. It was a 1,000 square foot 2-bedroom, perfect for living alone. The price was reasonable at $450,000. On Thursday, I contacted a moving company. Can you move on Friday afternoon? Where are you moving from and to? From Palo Alto to Sacramento. Is it a lot of stuff? No, not much. Yes, we can do it. What time? Around 2 p.m. would be great. The Great Escape. Friday morning, the family finally left for their Europe trip. Dad, we'll have a great trip, Thomas said goodbye. Take good care of yourself for 10 days. Call if you need anything, Jennifer added. Grandpa, I'll bring you a souvenir, Brandon chimed in. Have a safe trip, I said calmly as usual. An hour after the family left, I started moving in earnest. First, I called Tae-woo. Tae-woo, let's get started. Yes, Mr. Harrison. I already have several interested buyers. Can we close today? I'm confident we can. It's Palo Alto these houses fly off the market. Listed at market rate, $5 million, then it'll definitely sell today. At 1 p.m., Tae-woo called. Mr. Harrison, we have a deal. The buyer is paying cash and can close immediately. Really? When can we transfer ownership? Monday of next week. Excellent. Thanks for your hard work. At 2 p.m., the moving company arrived. I didn't have as much as one might expect for living in a house for 40 years. Sir, is this everything? The moving company owner was surprised. Yes, I'm only taking what's essential, I replied. Where's your family? They're traveling. They'll find out when they get back, I said meaningfully. By 5 p.m., I'd completely moved into my new place. After 40 years, I was starting fresh. That evening, I said goodbye to the neighbors. First, I went to the apartment management office. Manager, I'm moving. Oh my, so suddenly? Where are you going? Not too far away. But if my son comes looking for me, please tell him you don't know anything. Why, is something wrong? I can't explain. Just please tell him you don't know. Understood. We'll protect your privacy. Next, I visited neighbors I'd been friendly with, starting with Mrs. Peterson. William, where have you been? I've moved. To another place. Suddenly? I thought you were living with your son. What happened? That's when I revealed everything. How Jennifer and Brandon had planned to send me to a nursing home. How they tried to stage dementia. How they coveted my assets. What? That really happened? Mrs. Peterson was outraged. Yes, I heard it myself. And Jennifer asked me to write a false statement, didn't she? But I refused. I thought something was off, Mrs. Peterson said. You did the right thing. That's why I sold the house first and moved. Good for you. You shouldn't give your house to children like that. Mrs. Peterson supported me. Mrs. Peterson immediately spread the story to other neighbors. Mrs. Lee, Mrs. Park, Mrs. Choi, they all became my allies. William is such a good man, Mrs. Lee said. To have a son like that, how unfortunate, Mrs. Park agreed. That daughter-in-law was always too bold, Mrs.